In the heart of sunny, serene Santa Barbara County, war has been declared, and the enemy is Rolls-Royce and Mercedes-Benz. It's a war on wheels. The star general leading the offense is 29-year-old Alfred DiMora, president of Clenet Coachworks. His weapon? The Clenet, the most expensive and exclusive automobile made in America. His allies? Sylvester Stallone, Julio Iglesias, and Wayne Newton, owners of Clenet cars.
My name is Sir Alfred J. DiMora. I'm 56 years old, I'm Italian, and I love cars. What makes the Clenet interesting to me was the actual design features of the car. It had everything that a Rolls-Royce or a fancy car would have with no maintenance to it, hardly at all, because you can go to any Lincoln, Mercury, or Ford dealership. Back then I was 18 years old, and if you jumped in the car, you know, you would cause a lot of accidents driving it around. It had a lot of, chrome pipes coming out of the side of it. It just had this very unusual look. Had the 30s style look of the Art Deco look that, back then just wasn't really out on the streets. Alain Clenet had his own ways, and his ways really weren't working. And it was pretty obvious to me in writing on the wall at that time for me, and that's why I had left. The only thing I can tell you is that the company did go into bankruptcy. I actually purchased the assets from Presley Blake out of the assets from the bankruptcy. Presley had made this deal with me, and he would always call me a kid because, back then I was a kid, I guess. And he said to me, "You know what, kid, I'll do a deal with you." And it was an extremely reasonable deal. He literally gave me 24 hours to come up with a cashier's check in order to make this deal happen. He left it into his lawyer's hands, and next day I showed up with a cashier's check.
My first visit with Al was about 90 days after he acquired the assets of the old Clenet Coachworks. He was extremely excited. He was so delighted at the progress that was being made. The backing that he had from his investors was wonderful. He seemed to have a good crew of people, a lot of whom had worked at the old Clenet Coachworks.
I believe that we built better cars than the original factory. We were more meticulous about chrome, especially our chrome work.
President Ronald Reagan designated the car the representative car for the United States automobile industry for the 100th centennial of the automobile. Clenet Series 2 was inducted into the Automobile Hall of Fame in Detroit along with Al DiMora as president of the company.
Of all the automobile companies in America, we represented America, sort of like England was known for Rolls-Royce, and here we were known as for Clenet.
Ronald Reagan had a double-edged sword for Clenet. The first was designating it as the centennial car, but the second was his wide-reaching Tax Reform Act of 1986. What this meant is that the after-tax cost of the car was increased by 45%.
And then the trend started slowing down a little bit, so we slowed down with that trend and thinking, you know what, this is, either we're going to have to come down in price or decide that, this is where we stop and wait for the market to pick up.
By 1989, the blow was terminal for Clenet Coachworks.
Over the 20 years, I created 5050 antifreeze, which everyone knows. I've designed and built the world's fastest, smallest supercomputer with a new language. All this was for a reason to put into a new car. And it is 20 years later, and I'm happy to say that we're back in business again, building cars again. And the whole economy and the whole world economy has changed. We've really updated the cars, and with all the new materials and new technologies, it's not like what it used to be. If you get behind the wheel of a car, if you just look at the car, drive a car, it will definitely speak for itself. It will show 100% quality, masterpiece, painting, whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a gem.